Hi there viewers, I'm the Extraordinary Tourist, and in my last few videos I've been threatening to actually release an art video instead of a skateboarding based video, and so, well, here it is. This is my art video. Rather than just have you watch me do some art, I thought I'd try and give you something useful that you can perhaps take away and try for yourself. And that's going to be, I'm going to show you how pretty much anyone can do their own grip tape art and at least make a halfway decent good job of it. So that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got my Posca paint pens lined up. These are sort of pretty familiar to anyone who's sort of done their own grip tape art, but what I wanted to show you that would make this possible for sort of anyone, even without drawing skills, to be able to do a fairly decent job with grip tape art, is I'm going to show you a method of how to get your design onto the board without having to freehand draw it yourself. I've got one of my other drawings, but you could take sort of any simple drawing that you really like, or simple line art drawing or colour art drawing, and print it out. It's about the size that you want to put it onto your grip tape. This is what I've got here. This is one of my own artworks that I adapted for Inktober in 2017. It's called Dog Star Puppy, and I thought I'd just draw the actual dog, the ball and the bone onto my grip tape. I would recommend, if you're going to print it out, you don't do what I did here and print out full black. Print it out in a lighter colour or a lighter grey, because you're going to be tracing this with a ballpoint pen, so you want to be able to actually see where your pen marks are so that you know what you've traced over. The next step from here is pretty much the crucial one, and what you're going to need is just an ordinary piece of blackboard chalk. So here you go, this is my piece of blackboard chalk. I would recommend white or yellow. It's just a light colour because this is going to be going down onto black grip tape, so you want something that's going to stand out on the grip tape. And all you're going to be doing is turning over your design and scribbling on the back, and basically creating a version of carbon paper, if you're familiar with what carbon paper is, or graphite paper is another version of that, which is, instead of carbon, it's got like lead pencil all over the back. And you can actually buy paper that has like white pencil all over the back that will do the same thing. But I wanted to show you a way you could do this just using things that you're likely to have without having to go out and buying sort of expensive carbon papers or white papers or whatever they're called. It's just using ordinary chalk, and this is ordinary photocopy paper. You want paper that's got a little bit of tooth to it, or roughness, so that the chalk will stick to it. Just mark where the edges of my design is, so that I don't unnecessarily chalk more of this paper than I need to. So all I'm going to do is put a reasonably thick layer of chalk over this. I'm just going to go over the whole thing because I can't see through it, but as I said, if you had a big design you could literally just trace out the lines. Here we go. Just want a nice layer of chalk on here. It needs to be fairly thick because it's got to sort of come off the back of this and settle into your grip tape. All you're going to need to do is sort of fill this in, trace it onto your board, and then literally colour it in with paint pens once it's on your board. There we go. I'm going to go tip all the dust off that, and we'll get on to the next stage of transferring it to your skateboard. Okay, so here we go. Got my skateboard set up here. This is my Pizza Monkey Lifeline deck. Got my chalked design. You want to sort of put that on your board. You want to be careful with this so that the chalk doesn't start falling off the back before you've got to it. You want to sort of get it wherever you're going to be. Try not to put it on the deck until you know exactly where you're placing it, so that you don't start getting chalk lines. You just want something to keep the paper still, but you don't want it to be that you can't lift it up, because you're going to need to lift it up and have a look at your actual work just to see how well the lines are traced through or what have you. But you want to at least hold it in place so that if you do lift it up, it's going to stay perfectly in line. Ballpoint pen is all you need, and I'm just going to get into it and trace the outline of the design. You want to press reasonably hard, but not so hard that you're pushing through the paper, and you want to go over every line multiple times. Remember, this is just a guide that you're going to be using once it's on the skateboard, and because your grain is fairly rough, you need to really sort of push the chalk on there and get it into that grain. So I'm just going to start and we'll see how I go over the lines. It doesn't matter if they're not really clean like the lines that you do. Again, it's only a guide. Try not to brush your hand over too much pushing it in, otherwise you might get more chalk on there than you want. Try to keep your hand still and just keep the pen moving. As you can see, I'm just going over each line multiple times. As I said, this is just to use as a guide so that you don't have to freehand your drawing onto the board. What this does is it takes out the sort of trial and error of transferring your design freehand, which is what a lot of artists do, including myself, and gives you some makes sure that like your design on the board is exactly the way you drew it on the piece of paper or wherever you got your design from. So if you're going to lift this up, make sure that the paper is going to stay in the same spot when you put it back down, so make sure you've got a good hold on the paper. Just to have a look underneath, I think I'm going to be able to manage with that now. Take that off. There you can see all the chalk where I've been drawing. It's come off and gone onto the skateboard. Go. How does that look? Now, if you've ever worked with paint pens, you'll know not to sort of lean on the board where you've drawn with the paint pen. The same goes double for this design. It's only chalk on there, and as soon as you rest your hand on it or anything on there, there's a good chance you're going to smudge the chalk or rub it off altogether, which is not what you want. But that's an easy way to sort of get your design onto the board without having to freehand it. And as I said, if you can't draw, you could take someone else's design or any image, company logos that you like, skateboarding logos, whatever, trace around it and get it onto your grip tape using this method. So I'm going to go through, colour it in, keep my design somewhere close to hand as a reference so I can see anything that I can't make out where that goes. So, and as I said, make sure you do not lean your hand on here, because once you do, there's a good chance you're going to rub out the design. So there we go. There we go. Let's see if I can give you a closer look at that so that you can get more of a realistic view of how rough it actually is. It looks quite good from in the camera from a distance, but I'll get it right up close so that you can sort of see. There you go. See, the edges aren't smooth. There are things I could do to it. I could add shading, like the original line art has shading in it, but I quite like it how it is, and I just wanted to show you that sort of even simple, relatively simple designs that are just one colour, or flat colours I should say, no shading, can still look really good. And most of the Griptape art that I've done over the years is that kind of flat colours, not a lot of shading at all, and it still looks really good. So there you go. I hope you got something out of this skateboarding art video that I've been threatening for several weeks now. If you're into Griptape art and wanted to give it a try but was sort of a little bit hesitant because of the difficulty of getting your designs from paper onto your board, I hope this technique is very helpful in giving you some confidence in that the designs that you want to put on the Griptape are going to actually look like the designs that you've drawn, or the images that you've chosen. They're going to look the same on the board as they do in the original artwork. So I'm going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, that really helps. If you're new to my videos and this is actually your first video, I make skateboarding videos for people who are rediscovering skateboarding in their later years. I actually turned 50 this year, and I'm just that sort of person. I'm trying to relearn all my tricks that I used to know on a skateboard when I was a much younger person. And I also do art videos, usually related to skateboarding, as you've seen here. This was a Griptape art video, but normally I do art for the other side of the skateboard and do graphics and sell my designs on boards. If that's something you're into, hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, you might want to hit the bell button so that you never miss a video. I make or try to release a video every weekend, usually Saturday night Australian Central Time, but sometimes it's a bit later, but trying to do every weekend at least to be consistent. So that's it. This was my Griptape art video. Hope you found it useful. Till the next one, I'll see you later.